staff to take a quick roll call.
Sure, thank you. Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Ryan Frank.
Yep.
Roll call. Brandon
Here.
Rickey, Eric Torkelson.
Here.
And we have two excused, Kathleen Dagenhart, Jessica Castmeyer. Here we go. So that's going on.
All right, we do have a forum, so we'll move item C, which needs approval of the minutes from our meeting on December 11th. Motion to approve.
Second.
The motion by Eric, a second by Brian. If there are no corrections, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, the minutes are approved, and we'll go to items D, 2A and 2B, and I'll turn it over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item tonight is for Toppers Pizza at 11045 West National Avenue. Toppers Pizza is in the location of the previous shoebox store. This proposed restaurant is considered limited use due to the hours of operation. Toppers is a late night pizza business that operates until 3 a.m. Toppers expects to hire 9 to 12 employees, and then it's just gonna be a takeout area, so there's no dining seating that is part of this plan. Looking at the site details and floor plan, you can see that the property was recently updated by prior business tenants. The existing building is 2,400 square feet. Toppers is going to occupy a 1,500 square foot area within that building. So you will enter off of the east side of the building for that takeout experience. And behind that's a kitchen prep area, walk-in cooler, restroom, managerial office, and then just backup house with sinks and other storage features. The existing building is landscaped through grass regions and then various variety of shrubs and trees. New landscaping is seen through the addition of 24-inch potted ornamental grass, flowers. No changes to the existing parking on site that was built as part of this development previously. 10 spaces are included in this with one ADA stall. There's new concrete curbing and asphalt though as part of this project. Currently there's a refuse enclosure that's made up with screen with cedar gates and then steel frame on concrete slab. Pretty standard for that. This is just a proposed site plan showing just minimal changes with the landscaping, and that's pretty much the extent of the project. Most of the work is in the interior. This is that existing landscaping that they may need to do updates to depending on the current status. And then this is that existing refuse area. Pretty high quality already. No changes to the exterior plan for the architecture. It just has that pre-finished metal coping, precast stone and brickwork facade, and then storefront glass. This is a good picture of the existing building. With that being said, there is a recommendation for approval and conditional use and approval of the site landscaping and architectural design review for Toppers, subject to common council approval of the conditional use permit, and then a signage plan for any signage on the building. Thank you.
Check.
I move to approve.
All right, there's a motion to approve. Second, I just had a couple quick questions, but I'm sorry, but are these hours comparable to the competing pizza place across the street?
Domino's, I do not know the exact hours, but I believe they're open until 1 a.m. on the
Okay.
weekends. Let's check right now.
Toppers is I think their industry standard is like 3 a.m. or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Early, yeah.
And then
Early.
would this be vacating the one by Culver's?
The one up by Culver's actually closed a few months ago.
That's right, I did.
So I don't know what's prospective for that tenant space right now, but Toppers will be back in the area if they get approved for this location.
Okay.
And looking at Domino's, they are open until 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday, and then midnight.
The rest of it doesn't leave that late. Okay. And midnight on weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then the last thing I had was just, they had space for a future tenant. On that one map, do they
have. Is there a pattern of existing toppers that they usually are next to something that could go there? Like I know sometimes we saw like Family Video with Mario's Pizza partnered a lot around Wisconsin and, or not Mario's. Marco's, thank you. Is there anything, have we seen any pattern like what that future tenant might become, or have they thought about it at all or talked to you about it at all?
They haven't told us yet, and they haven't really, I'm not sure how far along they are in their thoughts on that.
Okay.
From my understanding, the building was, it was difficult to get a tenant in because I think originally they were wanting to sell the whole building, but I think there was a high price on that.
Okay.
But I don't know if the owner has changed, business plan since not obtaining any applicants, so.
Cause it was retail and then retail and then a gaming store.
Yeah, and I don't know how long that gaming store was in there for.
Yeah, a couple of years.
Months.
It was a couple of years. Yeah,
I can see my.
slide patch, yeah. Okay, those are my questions. If there's nothing else, then all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The ayes have it. Item 2A, 2B is approved. And we will go on to items 3A and 3B.
Thank you, Mayor. This is for CD1 price cleaners at 2367 South 108th Street. CD1 Price Cleaners is a current dry cleaning business that operates in Chicago suburbs and then a few locations in the city of Chicago itself. And they're looking to expand into the Wisconsin market with their first location in West Dallas. This will serve as a hub for potential future locations in the Milwaukee metro. Currently, the property is zoned C4 right along Highway 100. Conditional use permits are required for dry cleaning uses. The hours of operation for this business are varying. So the retail store will be in operation Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sunday it will be closed, but an interior self-service kiosk will be accessible for 24-hour access for drop-offs and pickups. 8 to 10 employees are expected to be hired for this business, and up to 15 employees are expected to be hired as this company grows for this particular location. The company is looking at a spring 2025 construction date and a fall 2025 opening. Looking at the site and landscaping plans, so a new site plan has been given to us. Shown on the existing plan is a 5,752 square foot building, a parking lot with some non-conforming features, 3 driveway access points, 2 along Highway 100, and then 1 along West Hayes Avenue to the south. And then also a walkway in the rear with a chain link fence. Looking at those driveway access points, we've coordinated with our engineering team to discuss whether or not any of the driveway access points along Highway 100 should be closed or modified. They were in agreement that at least one of the driveway access points should be closed. The applicant is opting to close the one closest to the intersection. These changes will require WSDOT approval, which they are coordinating with currently. And this will provide a safer experience along Highway 100 with less driveways into the property. Looking at the changes, other changes, there's a new trash refuse area in the northern portion of the property. This will be screened with new steel framed refuse enclosure with panel veneer. Additionally, there's some landscaping bulbs along the eastern portion of the parking lot, and then just new landscaping in general with new green areas exposed after tearing out concrete on the existing western portion, sliver of land behind the building, and then also adding some green space in between the parking lot and the building. There's also going to be a new conforming sign. They'll have to submit sign permits for that. And then shown on the parking plan are 17 parking stalls. They meet the parking maximum requirements. And then bicycle parking, and then just updating that rear walkway to remove some asphalt, make it more smaller. Yeah, making it smaller. But this will be a point that we'll bring up later in this staff report or this plan commission meeting on that rear walkway. Just looking at the architectural plan real quick, we do see a street facing facade with new storefront windows and and a new glass entry door. Currently, this facade is very industrial looking with the former user being a auto parts wholesaler and retailer. So you don't see much legacy of that former use in this new building. You do see an existing overhead garage door on that northeast portion of the street facing facade. That is to remain just to assist with deliveries for the business and then operationally. But the other two overhead garage doors are being removed as part of this project. The project includes utilizing the existing masonry on the building, using Nishiha paneling colored in gray and blue, and then also just upgrading that metal clad fascia coping on the top. Overall, it's a much higher quality design for the Highway 100 corridor. Looking at the south facade, this is facing West Hayes Avenue. There's an additional storefront window being updated, and then utilizing just that masonry that's already on the building, along with some matching Nishiha panels in blue and gray. And then the north and west facades, these are receiving very minimal treatments, and just new paint schemes to match the existing or match the proposed exterior materials. And then also on the west facade, a new door and ramp with metal railing. Looking at the floor plan for this, I don't know why it didn't update. So the floor plan doesn't really show much so the floor plan doesn't really show much for the project overall. It's very lacking in detail. Further detail will be needed for the floor plan to be in the building permit submittal stage. Currently, it shows just a 302 square foot retail space that's shown with customer lockers, a table, and drop off and pickup kiosks. And then access to that building is provided by doors on the west and east sides of the building. Customer access to that retail area on the southeast corner, and then service on the northeast corner and west side of the building. One thing that we noted with the project was that along the west portion of the building, there's a service store that's going to be used for deliveries proposed by the business.
This site plan shows like the.
Yeah, the site plan shows the that walkway area that I mentioned previously. This is where a delivery area is proposed to be. Directly west of that is a nearby residential property. The staff doesn't believe it's in the best interest of the residential property to have a business operating along West Hayes Avenue and then utilizing that west access door. We're proposing that the business utilizes the northeast corner to do all their business rather than utilizing that west back entryway. But if they were to use it for whatever reason, they indicated that they would use it once per day in daytime hours just for satellite location deliveries. But still, we advise the business not to use that area just because of the potential conflict that it can have with the residential property nearby. And then overall, it just shows for the floor plan, it just shows a 2 bathrooms and then lacking in detail for the production and warehouse area of the dry cleaning business. Some additional things to note that aren't included in this presentation are that the property differs from traditional dry cleaning methods where they don't use many harmful chemicals, notably PERC it's called. I don't know too much detail on the chemical itself, but they've been in coordination with the DNR, and then they don't need to be in coordination with MMSD as of right now, just because they aren't utilizing any draining into the sewer for Salis. So they pick up all their wastewater on site and then it gets treated at a different facility somewhere else. If you'd like more detail, they can provide that as well. But overall, the building does satisfy these design review guidelines. contributing to those higher quality aesthetics along the Highway 100 corridor. And with that being said, we do have some, we do have a recommendation for approval for the conditional use, subject to just the conditions of common council approval, those changes to the site and landscaping plan to show more details along the, with the landscaping. Any proposed details on mechanical units and venting, additional floor plan details, and then commercial operations being shown on the northeast corner along with a wood fence replacing that vinyl chain link fencing right now. Submitting for building permits, driveway permits, and WISDOT coordination for the alterations along Highway 100. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Any questions? Wait.
As the name One Price suggests, is everything done for one price?
Yes, everything is done for one price. I forget the exact price, but I believe it's $4.99 for a garment. I think that's the cost for their business. They intend to be a low price dry cleaning business.
And another one, Mr. Mayor. The item in which is, you're suggesting there's a conflict with a neighborhood. How is that being resolved? Is that going to be settled in terms of what the planning department wants?
Yeah, so the applicant has been very responsive towards working with staff on updating this property. One thing to keep in mind is that we have not been able to confirm whether or not they are going to use that northeast corner. But given that it's already being used by the business, I don't see why there would be a problem. But at the end of the day, the planning commission does have discretion on altering those conditions of approval to if they see as fit. The applicant is Chris Kidd, the architect.
Hi.
Here, yeah. Hi. Have you spoken with the applicants at all?
He's out of the country right now. He knows these concerns and he's gonna talk to his business partner about it. Part of the, one of the unknowns for us as the architect is that the, I don't know if you need to swear me in or anything, but part of the unknown as the architect is that the plant that works, the way these facilities work is that when you come in the kiosk, it's all glass enclosed. You can actually see all the machinery working behind. They want you to be able to see the whole process. So I haven't seen the drawings of the flow, and I don't know how that actually affects the delivery of the clothes. So I think once he gets that back from his vendor, he'll work with staff. I don't know, you know, what that means as far as the rear of the building. I can tell you because we've been on site. Right now, at the rear of the building, you probably would not realize it, but that is all asphalt back there. And there's a couple exit doors back there. So we're gonna have to utilize one or two of those doors for exiting. But I need to talk to my client about what he wants to do as far as delivery.
That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
So. Probably don't have a better answer, but I don't know because we don't have those final drawings. I did, I think these were sent, but I think this kind of sheds light. If my wife calls, just mute it. But this is what, you might want to pass that down. This is what that kiosk looks like, just so you can. Is it staying open for you?
It is.
All right. Sorry about my unprofessional presentation, but those were supposed to have been sent to you. But that'll show you what it looks like, right? So it's self-service. You come in and you can see the facility, the machines. That's part of, they want to show that off. All the equipment's from Germany and Japan, and it's pretty neat process. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Yes. So we'll send you everything we have as we get it. But that's.
This is Marty White.
I'm one of the old-
Hey, Marty, how are you doing, sir? Sorry.
I see that. That was one of my questions. That's
Yeah.
what brought me here today. So when we get the questions, I guess.
Okay. So here's what it looks like
When you
inside.
walk in,
Yeah, so there's a drop off and there's a pickup and there's lockers almost like Amazon.
yeah, like Amazon.
So they would say, hey, your cleaning's in 52 and you come in and get on. But you can see in there, you can see the racks and stuff. Does that help?
we're looking in the future.
Yeah, this is definitely the future. And here's another view. You can see,
Yeah.
you can see the lockers there.
So,
Did you receive these in the submission from Chicago?
Jack, I don't know if they were, I don't think they made it in the, permitting portal, so, but it,
We'll get them to you.
okay, thank you.
You know, they're professional and it shows you, it's gonna answer a lot of the questions.
Great, good, thank you.
Any other questions from the commission?
Move approval.
Second. Okay, before we vote, Alderman Weigel, do you have a question?
okay, so this is 24 hours, this,
Yes, sir.
okay, and do you have some sort of proof that you're a customer to get in the door? You scan your credit card to get in the door, but that door is gonna, essentially gonna be unlocked 24 hours a day?
As I understand, there's some sort of electric strike mechanism, but we haven't got that far in the design.
Okay. Is this a new model then for you?
Not, well, for me, we've never done one of these in
Okay,
Wisconsin.
but they have other locations.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I can find that out for you. I just don't want to answer in.
Yeah, no, I understand. I just wanna make sure that we keep people out of there
Yeah.
who have no reason to be.
I agree, absolutely.
Yeah, well, whatever.
I did speak with the applicant regarding security on the property. He said he'll be at the common council meeting on the 11th for February. I believe that's the date, but he did mention that there will be enhanced security to prevent
Could be that
users.
customer's got a customer number or even a 4-digit number that gets them in the door. I'm sure.
Yeah, there's some sort of mechanism.
I'm sure there's some sort of mechanism. And then, this next question is for staff. I thought we were doing 4-sided design. Is that just on new construction? Cause that west wall is just block. And right now it's not very attractive either, but this would be our chance to add color banding in the paint or, I'm not saying we have to, ask for a complete redesign of that. Because I point to the activity of our department, the 4-sided design that has been kind of a policy, I think. And the instance I always bring up is, Big Deal Burgers. When that was originally built, there was a factory behind there, and I think the builder didn't want to do anything, it's just based on a factory.
Mhm.
Well, thank goodness for the 4-sided design, because there's apartments there now, so that east side of Big Deal Burgers. That, I don't know where that came from, if it was staff or the plan commission or a previous plan commission member. But, I like that. Now, that was new construction, and this is, of course, a adaptive reuse. So something on that west wall, all it is block, and the north wall also, I mean. Yeah, that's what I'd be asking for. Even if it's just a color band of paint, maybe wrap the blue around or something, I don't know.
We talked about some of that internally. One concern is we didn't want something gaudy that was offensive to the neighbors. So we thought, we kind of, I think in the recommendations, we're putting in a new fence. I think was one of the requirements.
Yeah.
It's a slat filled fence, vinyl insert fence. We didn't want to bring anything back there that the neighbor would go, I hate that. I don't think that my client would have any problems with bringing the color around in paint.
Maybe not the blue or, I don't know, something else,
Yeah, maybe a darker, or I don't know, some play off maybe some of the different gray colors and.
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe.
okay. Yeah, well, I don't think that's a problem.
I'm not asking for, masonry features in there.
Sure.
The ethos or that condition. That other Ichiha panels or whatever, or even like, we have some buildings that have
Just something
grids
to
that
break it
have
up.
vines growing up on them. That just adds to maintenance, landscaping work. But and it's not that visible thing. It really is just one neighbor. But again, I mean, there is one neighbor.
Good.
Yeah, I'd be interested on how the security works, but.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? We had a motion and a second. Is there any language that we need to incorporate into that motion based on the comments or?
We could certainly, that's a good idea, Mayor, maybe just to clarify the added architectural design enhancements on the west side of the building, at west elevation.
And maybe the north too.
Is that visible from Highway 100 or is it pushed back far behind it? Oh, the front is. Yeah.
the north wall, I think, would be barely visible as you're driving south.
What's just north of there?
Park a lot for the laundry.
It's in my laundry.
Isn't there a
Oh,
laundry?
yeah, it's laundry.
Sorry. Yeah, so if we were to alter the conditions, that'd be condition 2F, as Steve said, aesthetic enhancement to the north and west facades, subject to plan commission approval and staff design review.
And the northeast access versus, if we're talking about
So we do have
the residential piece of it.
yeah, we do have the access along the west side listed on here as a
Condition.
yeah, with that's a 2D, commercial operation being focused on out the east doors.
Okay.
Is that just walk in, walk out, or is there gonna be, I didn't notice if there was gonna be,
Yeah, so along this western entrance, there's that ramp.
Yeah.
So as indicated by Sam, the business operator, he said that and the plan shows deliveries being utilized along Hayes Avenue. This would be once per day during daytime hours of operation, not to exceed, I believe, 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. He said. As their business grows, they will receive future deliveries and drop-off locations, as this will be the main hub for the CD1 price cleaners in the Milwaukee area. And this, he said once a day, he will receive deliveries from those businesses or from the satellite locations, which will be on the west side of the building. But given the access, we don't know for sure how often that will happen. We just want to avoid any confrontations with the neighboring property because while we trust the business owner, we don't know for sure that every business, let's say if CD1 price cleaners goes out, we don't know how the next business will utilize these
sure, I understand, yeah,
doors. So
get you.
So the mover and the seconder are amenable to the range?
Yes.
You know, we're talking north and west for some accent banding. Is that what was the?
Okay, so
Excuse me, just one question. On that north and west, can we work with staff on that? I mean, we won't have to come back to plan commission, right?
I think it would just.
Plan should be amenable to us working with applicant Christopher Kidd Architects.
Yeah.
We're fine with that.
I just know they have a tight schedule. We can work with staff and,
Yeah.
you know, if you're okay with whatever you guys think.
I don't think it needs much, just a breakup of the color.
Yeah,
So just even a painted, just a painted band
yeah.
that matches the color of the,
Not a mural of a guy dry cleaning.
huh?
Not a mural of some guy dry cleaning.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing there.
historical.
Yeah,
Who invented dry cleaning?
Okay.
But yeah, it's a painted band, okay.
All right, then all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Item is approved. Thank you. And then we'll go to item 4A, 4B.
Thank you, Mayor. Bill Salus is the developer of this project and he's purchased the property at former Griffin Chrysler, Highway 100 in Oklahoma, 3000 block of South 108th Street. It is zone C4 commercial and it's about 5.5 acres. Former car dealership. And over the years, there was a number of different development proposals for this site, none of which really lined up with the Highway 100 corridor plan or zoning ordinance, things like self-storage, warehousing, vehicle storage, vehicle repair, things that weren't necessarily jumping off the paper they were printed on that for council or planning commission to approve. So what the bill is bringing to us is a 60-unit development consisting of 5 buildings, each 12 units apiece, a range of unit styles, 1 to 3 bedrooms, townhome style apartments. Approximate value is about $10 million. Conditional use within the C4 district, referenced in our zoning table. And since the planning commission staff report was published, there's there's been a revised site plan that's addressed a number of the items in the staff report. Namely, an additional refuse dumpster's been added on the site. And for a point to those here, why don't I just definitely sort of walk you through this in here. Everybody needs to see. So the Highway 100 is over here. Oklahoma Avenue is on the south. And this is all part of the property leading into the 5.5 acres site. There's one refuse enclosure here and another here that have been added. Originally in the plan that you reviewed in the staff report, only this one was here. So this one's been added. And then secondly, snow storage areas. It was one of the recommendations in the staff report. This is all the heavier dashed areas here are all snow storage areas on the site. Engineering suggested and recommended a hammerhead style turnaround up in this corner here, which has been added. In addition, in the staff report, there were 76 surface parking stalls, around the property. This one's been reduced to 55 parking stalls, so it's actually slightly under our maximum parking requirements.
It's 55 now.
It's 55 now with this, if I read the plan right. But
I like to stay with the 60 number. I thought
Okay.
to reduce it, but not that.
okay, all right. So but the parking maximum is each unit will have 12 attached garage parking stalls on each building. So every unit gets one parking stall in an attached garage. In addition, there's another, well, shown 55, but not to exceed 60 parking stalls in total. 2 per unit is the max for multifamily units. And then there's an internal set of walkways throughout the site connecting each of the apartments. And one of the recommendations that we're asking for, in addition to a landscaping plan, is our pedestrian connections out to the right of way of Oklahoma Avenue and out to the right of way of Highway 100. Being Highway 100, it's very retail focused. There's a lot of services and businesses, places to eat and things to do in this area. So we want to make sure that there's good connectivity, for residents here. They're likely going to walk over to Starbucks or the UPS store or the Who Hot, for a bite to eat or something to do. So I think it's very important, not just to plan for, the vehicle coming and goings to the site here and here, but also sidewalk connection. And there is the making of a sidewalk connection right now. When this strip mall was developed here with Who Hot is right here, there was a sidewalk connection that's actually stubbed in here and extends over this way. So there's a making of that out to Highway 100 now. And why don't I just go back here? I've got some other slides. But we also want a connection out to Oklahoma Avenue. And just sort of explain that in the following pages here. So this is the look. Highway 100's on the bottom here. And then this is that drive off of Highway 100, past the AutoZone, past the Who Hot, and all this green and gravel area back here is the proposed site. Over to the left, that's the former Incrediroll site, which is gone now. That'd be a Tsunami car wash. You've got a mobile gas station on the corner, and then you've got Starbucks and a Home Depot further to the north and west. And then off the screen is the Winsong Apartments, another apartment development to the west. And then this is an existing pedestrian access path from the proposed development site out to Highway 100. It's there right now. It does cross over another commercial property, which is under another separate ownership. And what staff is also encouraging is to add another sidewalk connection on the south side from the development out to Highway 100 that would tap into the AutoZone walkway and out to Highway 100. And this space right here, this drive access into the site, in and out of the site, is about 33 feet wide. And each drive lane is about 12 feet wide. So there's about another eight or 9 feet left over that could be accommodate an additional sidewalk area on the south side. And why do we need 2 sidewalks? Well, you don't. You need at least one, is what staff was encouraging. But the unknown, strip malls, tenants change all the time. That Who Hot area was actually designed for a drive-through on this south end of Hoo-Ha here. And the drive-through never went in. Hoo-Ha didn't need it. They actually created a small little outdoor patio area and sort of blocked off the entrance to the driveway, so people wouldn't erroneously drive through there when they were parking. But if that tenant would ever go, or if Hoo-Ha ever wanted to drive through, or if a building addition wanted to go on that south end of the property, you know, that the sidewalk connection that we see now between the, you know, proposed development site and Highway 100 would go away. So it may be good in this situation, at least for the Highway 100 access, to build in a little redundancy, or at least plan for it in the future, should tenants change or drive-throughs want to be added to this strip mall. And it's just another view showing what's there today. That's that you actually see on the development site here where it's stubbed in for the sidewalk connection. And then you can cross the crosswalk and out towards the front of the promenade in front of the strip mall. What that looks like there. So this is a, you know, 33 on the lower left corner is a 33-foot wide access drive. It's pretty wide, and it's, you know, the lanes leading into the development site are there's two 12-foot lanes. So there's going to be ample access even with the sidewalk being added, if sidewalk was added, and representing that blue dashed line in the lower left picture. It's another view from the site plan itself. You know, the availability of space. You can kind of see here where the site plan, this is their proposed refuse location for the development. And then the two 12-foot lanes. My cursor isn't showing up here, but two 12-foot lanes that lead into the development site and out of it. And then the possibility for, you know, additional space for, you know, connecting. This is where you would connect to that existing sidewalk here in front of AutoZone and out to Highway 100. So there is the possibility of making those connections. There's space for it. In terms of architecture, the unit mix, there are this is in each building. So for each building, 2 1-bedroom units, 5 2-bedroom units, and then there's 3 4-bedroom units. So they rough, right? 6? Okay.
6 2 bedrooms.
And then six 2-bedroom units. So the ground floor consists of 4 units, and then the upstairs is 8 units, total 12 units per building. And the architecture, this is just the north and east. I mean, that varies depending on which building we're looking at, but they're all very similar with asphalt shingles, James Hardy lap siding, different colors, a trim strip that sort of separates the 2 colors, and then you've got an accent pulpwood stone accent stone around the entry points to the building, and then wood panel-esque. I'm not sure if it's actually wood panel, but a wood panel look door with windows, accent doors for second floor entrances to the building, balconies with aluminum railings, and then actually the window styles that are shown around the various elevations. Just another view of the other side of the building, opposite the garage doors on the bottom and the sides. This is the floor plan of the first floor. There's a 2 3-bedroom units flanking on each end of the building, and then there's a 2-bedroom unit in the green, and then the yellow is a 1-bedroom unit. You can see that the first floor has each of the first floor units have direct access from the garage directly into the unit. And if you go up to the second floor area, I don't have this colored in, but above the garages are additional units. So you have above the garage areas, you have 4 2-bedroom units, and then you have 3-bedroom units on either end, and then with 2-bedroom units in between. And in some cases, you won't have direct access from the garage into your unit. You'll have to exit the garage and then enter a staircase to get up to the second floor.
That's only on two of them.
And two, yeah. So we're recommending approval, some of the conditions in the staff report. There are a few things that have been knocked off the list as a result of the revised plan. The notable things that we'd like to see are, I guess are unchecked, many of which everything on items 3 through 6 are more or less standard conditions, but item 2, actually 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are pretty much standards for most new developments like this. Item 2 is some of the meat of what planning's added here with the sidewalk connections being incorporated in the site, both to Oklahoma Avenue as well as 100. And just sort of flush out and incorporating possibly a walk path trail amenity around the storm pond. There's some questions about the grades. I think there's some steeper grades around that pond, so it may not be possible to put a full walk path around that pond, but there is a sidewalk also along the south side of that pond proposed that would offer, I guess, a place to sort of sit and stare off into the pond. But it was just a thought to maybe incorporate some kind of amenity, common area amenity for residents if it's feasible. And then one exterior bike rack, not necessarily per building, but the code says you have to have at least for every 30 units, you have to have at least one exterior bicycle rack. And then for interior, in the interior of the garage areas, those garages are about 13 feet wide by about 24 to 28 feet deep. So there's a room in front of the garage for interior bicycle storage. So just a couple bike racks at minimum on the development somewhere would satisfy the zoning recommendation or requirement. And then the rest of the items are the utility plan, the stormwater management, access management. The state and Milwaukee County are reviewing these plans. It's possible that the state suggests that there be a stormwater or a traffic study, not necessarily a full-blown traffic study, but maybe a technical memo of some sort. Both accesses that are being used here are existing accesses that served the car dealership back in the day. And they're not changing. It's basically they'll be used to support this development. But it's a question of whether or not the state is going to require additional study on the number of vehicle trips per day and that impact on Highway 100 or the intersection timing lights. Aside from that, we're recommending approval.
I just had a question.
Go ahead, Eric.
So overall, I like what I saw. The question I just have is, like, the design looks very similar to like a development on 27th Street, and I don't know if staff is aware of that, and if you are you okay that I'm gonna use kind of like the term copy and paste, so to speak?
It's the same developer.
Oh, yeah. No, I understand. That's fine for my staff.
If I can speak to that, my name is Nabil Salous. I did go to school for civil engineering, but I ended up to be, very much a project expediter. So this is not the first project I do similar to this. I did many things in my life. This project, this type of a design for to be very successful and attractive to people. What's unique about this design is this is a condo design. Each unit has its own entrance, its own garage. So basically there is no public hallways. So people like the fact you can park your car, walk into your house, or take a flight of the steps to your house. So basically the model has been very successful. And I did one. This is the third project I do similar to that, and I don't see any problem that there is similar design, similar project like this on 27th Street. There is some in Waukesha too. So that's not a concern on our end.
No. I mean, like I said, I think like the design what I saw as like plan commission member, I liked it. I was just like, boy, same design is also on 27th Street, and obviously, I'm assuming it's successful.
Yeah. Yes. I'm the same one.
Yeah.
The same person who is doing that.
And you have one completed on, what, Eighth and Layton, is it?
Yeah, I don't know if you have pictures to show them.
We could probably get. Plan Commission like, and we could go to Google real quick and probably take a peek at it from the aerial view, but.
While he's pulling that, I just like have one issue with the sidewalk, because I discussed the situation with the civil engineering firm who was involved in the initial development. The previous owner, he had a plan to develop this back area into some type of a commercial business type of a, setting. And this sidewalk, what you see here, it was designed to be, that is the access to the Highway 100. So, it was approved at that time that this is the access to the Highway 100. And, if the FUHAT or someone else they wanna do a drive-through, they have to deal with that, because, as far as I'm concerned, there is nice access to Highway 100. Anyone living in this development could be easily, walk through it. But if one of those businesses decided to change, we'll work with them. But at the same time, I don't want to be hostage to what a business come down the road want to do. Oh, now you remove the sidewalk to the other side. It's just like basically we purchased the land and that was, existing condition, and we like to see it. If someone wanna come make some changes, we'll work with them. But at the same time, I don't want to be the one who is responsible for that. We are flexible people, but at the same time, with the side on the Oklahoma side, I think I see the point. It's you don't want someone walking up the drive and a speeder coming down. We have to work with the staff to incorporate some type of a sidewalk down there. So
This is the Eighth and Layton. Two different types of siding, gabled, hip roofs. Similar look. In this case, there's a commercial use out front. Bill, did you develop that one too?
that's correct.
Okay.
This used to be an old restaurant called the Steakhouse, if anyone recall that, on 8th and Layton. So it was kind of an abandoned building. So I lined up, an investor. So we knocked down the old building and we put a commercial front at the beginning, like a few, shops, and one of those buildings in the back, and has been doing very well. So we like to bring the model to West Allis.
×5. Because you're doing 5 of these.
Yeah, on 8th and Layton, it's 1, but on 27th Street, I'm doing 3. Now I'm doing 5.
Yeah, I was gonna echo what Aaron was talking about. When I first got the agenda, I was a little weird, the whole CD set was included in that. And, can some effort be taken from a material standpoint on some of these roof forms that create something that's a little more unique to the context, rather than placing the same building typology right on the site? Rather than cutting and pasting the model all over the city, I think it would be beneficial to like the environment and the context that's in there, kind of harking back to that and make a gesture to that to make something different.
The ones I'm doing, I'm using a nice natural stone. I don't know, this picture doesn't give justice.
I'm not questioning the material, I'm just questioning like it's the exact same building. Like there's nothing different about it. It's the exact.
No, that is accurate, but it's just like basically, I am comfortable with the design. I'm just basically. It's difficult to, with the multi-family, architects who do successful model, just like basically, it's very difficult to go recreate a new plan, it's.
I don't think it's so much of an architect. We have a townhouse model that we've been using, and it's like, it's the same plan every time, but it looks different on the outside. I'm not questioning the plan or the condo, it's just the way it looks on the outside and how that is addressed through materials. I think some effort needs to be taken to make that more unique to the site that it's on, rather than it just being the exact same color palette, same roof forms, just a little gesture.
Like, are you suggesting, we could change the color?
Yeah, or just something that makes it a little bit more unique.
Bill, are you using the Stephen Perry Smith architect? That's correct. I think it's in, similar form, I mean, maybe some subtle differences in terms of maybe what Planning Commission getting at here was done at 92nd Street Commons. This is the 1800 block of 92nd Street, just across the street from Novanessus, or what used to be Chris Hansen. But, in this case, maybe they didn't use all, the hip roofs. They did some gabling with some overhangs and, maybe even a slightly different material or pattern up above in the gabled area with some brackets and some other things. It just maybe something along that line.
I could, mention that to the architect to see if he can.
Yeah, I think just something to make it a little bit different, so it's not this cookie cutter thing that's all over the city here. And I think my second question was about location of the dumpsters. They seem to be, I understand from a trash collection standpoint, they're like right at the thresholds of this property. Like, is there a way to get them in so that's not the first thing you see when you come to these? Like, both of those driveways have a dumpster enclosure, like right, you're greeted as you go to the property. I get it, they're screened and everything, but you have this big block of, I'm assuming, a wood fence or brick of some sort that's right in the corner of these. Is there a way to somehow conceal them a little bit better? That's the thing you see, I guess, would be my concern. And then I guess something too, when you were talking, you brought up about these longer driveways and people driving through, are there gonna be some sort of like speed control devices? Because those are some pretty long runs, I guess, for somebody to get geared up here to through this development here.
I think Bill, there'd be like,
Good point.
rather than, a bump where you go 30 and then you pull down to, 10 and you go 30 again down to the next speed. But I mean, could there be maybe some,
Speed tables.
speed table or, I guess what they added with the sidewalk, it's gonna create a little bit of a narrowing effect, not a lot, but I mean.
Some sort of gesture to that, narrowing is a good point, Steve, too. Okay, nice.
Just like the distance, is what, like 200-300 feet between, like, from the moment you're enter at Highway 100. By the time, it just like, because you almost have to put a full stop to turn in. So it's just like not that long of a stretch for people to speed up by then.
I think what they're coming up though is Highway 100 is notorious for racing around, speeding. And that's a nice little spot to go in. Come out real quick on Oklahoma. So it's not so there's they can speed through, turn a corner, speed right back out. That's what they're saying. There should be some kind of speed control to make sure that doesn't happen.
Bill, maybe right at like to Brian and everybody's point here, on my first mouse has been working about right where this crosswalk happens, right just west of the refuse area. There's a crosswalk right here where you have that internal sidewalk comes up north and it cuts across to this side, but maybe right in this area would be a good spot, and maybe again somewhere over here where it makes sense, where you could, if somebody's going fast into the site, that table or that feature, whatever would be at that crosswalk area, or maybe just in advance that crosswalk would really wake them up and slow them down. Something that could be implemented in that area just to sort of check people's speed.
I'll discuss that with CJ Engineering, see if they can suggest something in there.
That would help prevent the routine of people kind of doing laps around you, from Highway 100.
I see it happening.
They going southbound, they come through the site, they go back northbound again, right? So,
And entrance wise, just considering the fact that Highway 100 is a major, street, we will be using Oklahoma as, like, when we get addresses, I prefer an Oklahoma address, give me 109, whatever, But when I go drive there through Oklahoma, it's very, very quiet, considering.
Yeah.
In comparison with Highway 100. Of course, people will still have access like residents, but if someone looking for the address, let them come to Oklahoma rather than Highway 100. Yes. And there'll be a sign, the sign to the project will be on Oklahoma as well. So we're trying to minimize any, minimize newcomers to come through Highway 100, let them come to Oklahoma.
Other questions?
Madam Chair. Again, I'm already live on the alderman here. The speed bump thing, I was gonna suggest that. I was gonna ask about, I know it's private property, but speed limit signs. I would hope the speed limit there would be something like 20. Whether you just put the sign up, the signs are cheap, and there won't be any enforcement, we all know that, but at least, somebody's gonna,
It's a deterrent.
it'll be in their head. Let me understand, staff is asking for 2 sidewalks connecting on Highway 100, one on either side. It is us who hot might put a drive through.
That's what it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I guess now's the time to do it. 5 years from now, 10 years from now,
how about just one sidewalk on the south side? Because if we're gonna, if it makes sense, I don't know how it aligns. Clearly doesn't align with the existing sidewalk at Who Hot, but, I don't know, I'm just throwing that out.
There is the Fuhat sidewalk, I don't know if it has like a natural connectivity in comparison with the one next to the Fuhat. And my point that it was existed, built that way, approved at that time as an access to Highway 100. And,
Well, I understand that you're talking about when it was, might have been like a self-storage thing, but with 60 families living there, I think we have to be much more cognizant of pedestrian connections and that. I'm looking at Google Earth here, and it looks like there might be a sidewalk on the north side of the AutoZone.
it's actually, a building comes right down to a short, really small, narrow landscaping bed,
Okay,
but that area,
I can't tell from this
Yeah,
picture.
I mean,
There's really a sidewalk coming off of Highway 100 towards the north side of AutoZone, but the AutoZone building goes all the way too far north.
the AutoZone building goes right up to the property line, and then the little tiny little strip of curb and landscaping is technically on Nabil's property, so. If Nabil wanted to run a sidewalk along that north wall of AutoZone, you could, it would be on that 33-foot wide stretch of property that runs out to Oklahoma, Highway 100. It would just have to be built.
Right, that might solve that idea of 2 sidewalks. The other things I would like to see is this entire property surrounded by a wall? Did I see that on the, how's it separated from, say, the
chain link fence.
chain link fence around everything? Okay. I don't know, but I know what's gonna happen. There's gonna be a family living in your new property and their kids are gonna be friends with some of the people in the apartment building to the west at Windsong. And there's no gate gonna be there to get over there. So there will be, someone's gonna either start climbing over the fence, 6-foot fence or 4-foot.
It's the one to the west is 5.
Yeah.
I believe it's 8.
Well, I see holes in fences all the time.
Well, someone wants to.
So maybe you think about putting a gate in the first place, maybe talk to Windsong. I don't see a way of that happening without them, maybe, there's room there. There's some spots that are no parking. So they wouldn't have to lose a parking space. If that's, while this is just lines on paper, I'm just asking for this. I'm not saying it's a must have.
Yeah.
And also,
But we also worry about, we don't want our property to become a crossroad that the kids in the neighboring subdivision, they want to go to grab something from Highway 100, or there's basically people coming, back and forth through our property.
well, I don't think, I guess I don't know how, people from Windsong, if they'd walk to Highway 100 through your property. But you're right, that would accommodate, that would make that easier. And the other thing that I would be asking for, not a must have, is a pedestrian connection on the northeast corner up into Cause if I lived in that northern complex there and I wanted to go over to, I don't know, Applebee's or something, it's a long walk. Yeah, I'd probably end up getting in my car instead of walking. The way this layout is, it's gonna be a long walk versus.
So when you're saying northeast, you're talking about this point?
Yeah, somewhere there.
I think we are planning on keeping that.
So for vehicles, that is showing a vehicle connection to that.
In fact, the way the engineer did it, he showed that as a vehicle exiting from there possibly, but I don't.
And is it going to behind the AT&T store or the?
It goes the other side of that strip mall,
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, when that strip mall was being built, and then there was another vision for this 5.5 acres. It was all one property owner that controlled everything at the time, and there was a thought of trying to work with the Fortune restaurant up here to get an easement to go north-south, and then from that point, once you cross that property, you get to the backside of what is Starbucks and that strip mall. And then you're kind of faced with the problem of crossing a drive-through lane of Starbucks. And
but this is the spot we're talking about. This is actually a vehicular access.
yeah, that goes back out along the north side of that strip mall building out, back out to the front parking lot.
Oh, boy, that's gonna be a cut through for cars too.
Yeah.
It's vehicular access.
I think what was shown, and I don't have a close-up view of this, but I think wasn't this like more of an emergency? I'm not sure if this is an actual resident.
Fire department access or something.
Yeah.
Just for clarity, this spot here is not our property. That is the property of the strip mall next. So,
So I'd be able to drive from their property onto your property.
if you wanna exit from here, you'll be driving over his
So
property.
I'm gonna bet the people who live in that building are gonna use that.
This is something, these two things mingled together, like these parking spots, they use it, but in fact, it's sitting in our property. There are things we might have to iron out with the neighbors,
Where's the fence? So there's no fence there.
Here, there is no fence, but I am planning to put a fence, some type of a wood fence, privacy fence. This is like, a discussion, it's an emerging discussion that the engineer, he showed this like a vehicular access here. So I'm not really sure if we want that to become, access, or we just like extend our gate all the way and.
I wouldn't mind if it was pedestrian and bicycle access. I'd like to keep that. Like I said, if I lived in that unit and I wanted to go to Starbucks.
Yeah, you just
walk all the way down and around, or just walk straight across.
I absolutely have no problem with that.
And I'm also gonna agree on the garbage sites. So again, I'm looking at the people living in that northern building. Their garbage are they gonna drive their garbage on the way out? I mean, there's only 2 garbage receptacle sites.
That's correct. The idea we have that this receptacle sitting here will serve these 3 buildings. And the one in here will serve these 2 buildings. The problem with garbage dumpsters, no one wanna have a dumpster next to their house.
But they want one next to their house because they don't want to have to carry their garbage.
Yeah, I understand. So there is like, dilemma. They want the dumpster close by because they don't want to walk. But at the same time, one guy was telling me, I don't like to hear the garbage trucks when they slam the things. I don't like
That's up to your contract with your hauler, and you can have them come during daylight hours. You can write that into your contract.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like, sometimes you don't, there is like they have a route to take and you don't want to make things difficult unnecessarily. So I personally, I I like the garbage truck route to be easy, like
Yeah.
whether he come in here, pick up this one, go wrap here without going deep inside, the development. They own parking lots, they destroy, those
Yeah, they're big
trucks.
trucks and all that.
They are noisy, smelly, you know.
I drove a garbage truck for a year in high school, I know.
Things you learn about.
So, in
Don't
terms,
tell me.
in terms of concealing that, we have all this land, we can just like push it further in. It's recessed, like it's not like, right in your face. We can do the same to that one if you guys feel that it should be, it's no one, no matter where you live, you're not looking at it because it is kind of, so that's what the engineers, kind of felt that this is, otherwise, if you wanna, whichever way you put it, someone will be complaining about it, so.
And then the other thing is size of the garbage containers and frequency of pickups. Are these, in units of this size, is this typically gonna be daily service from the garbage truck?
We have to, basically, we don't wanna put the huge dumpsters if, just like basically it's gonna be a game of free.
My concern is with rental properties, is at the end of the month, when the last people, because these aren't furnished, right? So that means that when tenants move out at the end of the month, and we all, so we have, the mayor knows this, we have a couple of problem apartment buildings that at the end of the month, their dumpsters constantly overflowing. So I just want to make sure that that's addressed here so that either you understand the frequency may have to be enough, like daily sometimes, or the dumpster enclosure space is big enough to hold enough dumpsters. And you don't have, is those recyclables here too, or is it just apartments?
I believe there is no requirement for recycling, but, back to the dumpsters issue, I don't want garbage floating on my property.
No one does.
So it's either, I'll talk to the engineer to see what size dumpster can fit in there, and, you start with it, and if the garbage posing an issue, then instead of doing it once a week, it becomes twice a week or three
Whatever
times
it
a
is.
week, to keep things, in a good shape. That's.
And I don't want the idea that there's an enclosure around the dumpster to be an excuse for the dumpster overflowing. Because I have a couple of buildings like that. You don't really see the garbage, but it's out of the cans and their ants are getting it.
And then,
Yes, and it does blow around, so.
No, I get that. That's definitely something I'm doing the construction. Sometimes I see like little trash here and there. I go out of my way
Appreciate
to clean it up, to make sure. I like my property to be clean.
Yeah.
So I just don't like messy. We are good landlords. We don't.
Yeah, so some sort of speed moderation, something.
That should be definitely something to
We
look
don't
at.
have a motion yet, do we? So we can put that as a motion if somebody wants to make that.
Was there, so I want to go back to the recommendation here. If there's things we want to add, we can just make sure we got it covered here. Okay, this is their staff report as it stands right now, the recommendation. So, we want to add a, traffic calming.
Yeah,
Features.
architectural management, right, or.
Yeah.
Like a speed sign, would that be okay?
Well, speed limit signs aren't enough.
Yeah, I think,
Not until we're all driving self-driving cars, the car obeys the speed limit on it.
Right, no, there needs to be something to slow them down. Because I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, they're gonna go on Greenfield, but the minute they know that they can access Highway 100, not Greenfield, but Oklahoma, from Highway 100 to Oklahoma, it's backed up. They're gonna go through there. And at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, it's gonna be, they're gonna be racing through. Who can get to this point first? I guarantee you it's gonna happen. There needs to be some on both Highway 100 access and the Oklahoma access. There has to be something to calm and make sure that people aren't gonna go speeding through there because
It's an invitation.
whatever, it's gonna wreck their car or whatever it is, you know? But yeah, there has to be something, especially in that location.
Well, one time I seen a sign says no through traffic, heavy fine. So, and
The sign thing is great and you still wanna do it. But that's not what we're asking. The sign is not gonna calm that traffic down. On Highway one hundred, it says it is prohibitive to cruise Highway one hundred. If we see you pass at a certain amount of frequency, we're gonna pull you over. And guess what? Keep going back and forth, keep going back and forth. There's only so much somebody can limit that.
well,
Yeah, I mean, that's.
We'll put maybe some like
traffic calm.
assault, like, you know, it's just like a concrete, it's not like a big speed pump, just like arch a little bit if someone.
It's called a speed table. It's got a longer
Yeah.
profile.
And that way the plows can go right through it too, and it doesn't destroy anything either. Something like that would work, yeah.
And I will work with the architect, see if he can come up with you know, different color scheme, so it will look a little bit different. And although I do like, you know what, once I develop, I do natural 5-inch natural stone.
Yeah.
But we'll see if we can come up with same stone, but just a little bit different shape.
Materials are kind of something that Steve was thinking into with that other development on 92nd Street.
But I like, you know, I don't know how you guys feel about that. I do like to use the same color throughout the project, just like the uniformity of it.
Yeah, I don't think
Looks
like the
appealing.
development ever like over the 5 or 6 buildings here, like I don't think they only need different colors, but I think maybe a different scheme from what was presented in the
Yes.
original agenda, the green and the color, I think. Bringing a cohesiveness for that site, I think is important. And I appreciate you're using actual natural stone, like,
Yeah.
rather than licking stick stone.
Goes for money.
Well, yes.
You know, like I could use the brick cheaper, but I'm just like, I'm used to better material.
So northeast side of this.
We have a motion.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? You
Yeah,
got
Steve, on the northeast side, I don't know that you want a vehicle access on that northeast corner. I'm not sure. I think that might turn into the same problem. Car vehicles cut.
Pedestrian.
Yeah, but I like to keep up pedestrian bicycle
I
access.
think a pedestrian on that.
Like someone wanna open that gate or just like a little man gate, you wanna walk off to Highway 100. Yeah, that's something I'm, no problem at all.
any other discussion?
Minor thing, just a question about that car wash.
Yeah.
Now, is that gonna cause issue from a zoning standpoint now that car wash is there or?
If the residents, if the bill built this 6 months ago, it would have.
Okay, I just wanted to bring, okay.
But it's like the car wash came first, so they got in, the wires, and no one in your development can complain about that car wash.
Unless he's in the car wash business.
I'm kidding, but
You know, I'm
I'm
hoping that you guys are still, there is a chain link fence. I'm hoping if you guys have a way to encourage that car wash guy to put a fence, just like, because I will be having families living in there. And maybe liability for him, maybe he should have a fence.
We'll get
Look, the
together.
vacuums are on that side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The vacuums are on that side. So you might want to heavily landscape that for
I know the car wash is
landscaping.
landscaped it, and it might, you know, with the landscape plan that we work on together, it would be something additional that we'd want to maybe do some evergreens.
Evergreens for sound buffer
So all their vacuums in there. Oh,
are on the north side of
They're on the-
they're
yeah,
on
the
that
north
property line with.
they're noisy. Wow, I didn't know that.
Didn't mean to queer the deal. I hope that didn't spoil it.
And what is the hours of the car wash?
It wasn't very.
Let's get this item passed. and then we can talk about that after. So, we have a
Scott's
motion, we have a
waiting, Scott
second.
waiting.
We have a second.
All in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it, carried.
Car wash isn't very late.
Next item is E, and that's adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll get you that. I mean, I sent it to you early on the car wash plan. Or operating.
You-
I didn't get it. to you.
Yeah, no, I think that.
Yeah.
You know, if the landscaping, if we can get the fence out of them, then it's very.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too, mate.
Because usually, he said it, usually the commercially, the ones who usually install the fence.
Yeah,
but-
nicer fence.
Yeah.